Animals are a part of our lives for so many reasons. I have had animals in my life ever since I was an infant. Dogs, cats, and even a horse. And I've been around so many animals growing up. They've been a real instrumental part in my life. One aspect I want to talk about today was how animals actually can be one of our greatest teachers. And what I mean by that is in doing a communication with an animal and realizing the gifts that they bring and their perspective compared to just our perspective is really quite incredible. And in their perspective, I wanted to give a couple examples of some animals that I have worked with and how they've actually helped their people by teaching them what it is that they need to do to actually nurture themselves and help them in their own personal growth. So one example I have is I had a young woman who was really quite, I would use the word stoic, AKA she wore a mask and was really not in tune with herself emotionally. And it had to do with, she had a lot of hidden anxiety that she was just shut off from. And this dog came into her life, and it's really surprising. This woman comes across as so strong, so quiet, so stoic, and her dog is a very, very anxious dog. And when I was connecting with the dog was sharing with me that it just didn't know what to do with all this emotion, and it was really quite anxious. And when in the follow-up session, when I'm talking with the client, and she actually got silent for a moment, and she goes, well, I don't share with many people, but deep down I'm really anxious, and I work really hard to just put that mask on and not let people know that I'm anxious. So in our follow-up session, we were really able to connect with, how her animal is showing her anxiety. And she actually sat for a moment and thought about it, and she realized that in those moments that she was really anxious, those were moments that her dog was really acting out and being anxious. And then in moments when she was quieter and calmer, her dog was also quieter and calmer. So the key with that one in the follow-up, to let her know how much her dog was trying to help her, was to just for her to realize and to thank her dog that each time her dog is acting anxiously, for her to check in with herself and see where is her anxiety level at. And she decided she was going to try that, and she let me know a few weeks later that she really became aware of her anxiety. And she began to acknowledge it, and she noticed that every time she was acknowledging it, her dog would calm down and settle, because now the dog was feeling she didn't need to carry it for her person, and her person was doing her work. So that's one example of how animals can reflect our emotions and actually bring our attention to them to actually help us heal and nurture ourselves. So the beauty of having a communication and learning the animal's perspective just helps us get so much more compassion for each other, and that just helps to deepen our connection. Thanks.